Ladies and gentlemen, it is a day after a spooky Halloween, and the full crew is back. Pixels, plastic, and ink. Well, I'm excited to get into the topic this evening. We are going to settle the debate in an elimination bracket challenge. Who is the greatest horror icon? And I know it's a day after Halloween, but we're still in the spooky spirit. Plus a lot of other great content this evening, including a Shadow Knows Network news updates as we scatter around and try to figure out what is hot in the world of pop culture, toys, comics, multimedia. Gentlemen, how are you feeling this evening? Do we have a Halloween hangover?
Never. It's Halloween all year long.
Yeah,
I don't believe in hangovers.
Yeah, I think I had a boring one. I'm still fighting that cold, but feeling good tonight on Friday night. Yeah.
All right. Well, obviously, horror is a big piece to the pop culture, and recently, the gore fest, horror fest that is Art the Clown has taken over social media. And has brought the horror realm to the forefront of entertainment. And so we today are going to talk about, again, who is the top horror icon. So stay tuned, subscribe, like, comment. This is Pixels, Plastic, and Ink. Oh, I love that intro, man. Again, it gets me fired up. I'm ready to run a mile outside, but I do have a Halloween hangover, and that will not be happening tonight. Gentlemen, how are you all feeling? Feeling good about horror icon? Do you have something in your mind that's thinking who the ultimate horror icon is going to be?
Possibly.
Yeah. Of course I do.
Okay.
No, I'm on the fence, man. I was trying to think. There's several contenders, but to number one, I don't know in my mind who would be number one. So I'm interested to see everyone else's thoughts tonight.
The Nun.
The Nun.
No.
Well,
Right.
I don't know. Here is the rules of because we're going to jump right into it, of the elimination bracket. For those of you who have not watched previous elimination brackets, and scroll through the catalog of past shows as we narrow down various topics. But it could be current horror, it could be classic horror, it could be Universal monsters, it could be 80s, 90s. But we are going to do our best to do it now. So without further ado, gentlemen, are you ready for the Bracket Fight 32 Elimination Challenge? And we start off, with two pretty significant icons in horror, and that is none other than Jason Voorhees versus the Candyman. Your thoughts on who advances?
Jason is way more iconic.
Yeah.
Sorry, Candyman. You were kind of creepy, but you're no Jason.
This kind of sucks as the first one. Any other time, like I said, my man Candyman might have made it up unless he was posed next to Freddy Krueger. But now Jason Voorhees is obviously the clear winner of this one.
Candyman in a Jason Voorhees mask.
Oh, that would be epic.
Yeah, but
Crossover.
otherwise Jason Voorhees.
Okay. All right. Jason Voorhees for me too. As
Yes,
much
sir.
as the Candyman can be creepy, he advances. And
Because I don't like bees. But
next
still,
up,
Jason is scarier.
Hannibal Lecter versus the Phantom of the Opera. Little
Wow.
classic horror versus Hannibal himself, one of the creepiest on-screen characters of all time. I'm leaning towards Hannibal.
Which Hannibal? We're talking about the original Hannibal, right? Like movie one.
Yeah, we're the movie one, the one that I think Anthony Hopkins did the best of. But I'm leaning towards Hannibal as much as the classic, iconic Phantom is Lon Chaney. I think, in my opinion, Anthony Hopkins was the creepiest of all time.
Yeah, with a very small amount of screen time as well.
Yes.
You know.
Well, clearly, the chat has a completely different view of that.
The Phantom won't do that.
Yeah, no, I'm Anthony Hopkins is now while I think Lon Chaney Sr. is obviously probably the man of 1,000 faces, one of the better ones. But again, this is just he's putting the timing wrong again against Hannibal Lecter. So it's definitely Hannibal, man.
Hannibal.
Okay. Hannibal Lecter advances. Next up. Oh boy. It's Mr. Torrance versus Chucky. The infamous scene where here's Johnny from The Shining and will make dolls famous and forever haunted kids of America in the late 80s, early 90s.
With
Chucky
My Buddy.
himself.
My Buddy dolls.
We were talking about that on Wednesday's night show. Was about the My Buddy, how that doll still looks creepy as hell from Hasbro.
I'm gonna tell you this real quick. On my drive back from visiting my friend, I literally looked over at a truck driving beside me, and it was a truck that had it had the hardtop on it, so it had the bed cover.
Yeah.
And I looked over to the side, and then I like looked, and then looked away, and then looked back real quick, and he had a real production sized Chucky doll hanging out of the little side window with his hand reaching out with the middle finger up. And I was like, that's kind of creepy on the road. So but I don't know, this is a tough one. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Two actors from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Chucky.
Jack and Brad Dourif. And I think this is the only time that Brad Dourif is going to win against Jack Nicholson, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about icons, right? That's what we're measuring. I think overall, the end of The Shining and Jack Nicholson played that so well. Just a frightening character. Chucky's a little cheesy, a little corny, but icons-wise, costumes, pop culture, figures, dolls, relevant today. I mean, kids are still walking around dressed like Chucky. I gotta go with Chucky and Child's Play.
Shining's only had one sequel. Chucky, he's had 18 sequels and TV shows. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I think it's clear.
He's become so iconic now that actually people don't even know the My Buddy doll, but they know Chucky's doll. So that's actually kind of things. Let's see. Also,
yeah, it's true.
Chat goes, Chucky's one of those characters that is transcendent movies. He absolutely has, and we got some people that's going in for Jack. Obviously, you got it, but no, I think Chucky's got this, man.
Chucky advances. Next up, one of the biggest icons in horror, Michael Myers, and a classic, The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I can tell you, these Universal monsters are going to take a beating tonight, bro. Because they're on the wrong side of the bracket tonight. This one's obviously Michael Myers. Wow. I even hear the music now as he comes on screen. That's how iconic he is. You can hear his music played when there's no music played.
Well, that's the thing. Is there, this could be a different episode, but iconic horror music.
Oh yeah, Michael Myers.
Michael Myers, right? John Carpenter just he's okay, I'm gonna scare the shit out of America and create this iconic character who literally continue. My wife and I were talking about it. When's the latest Freddy Krueger movie you've seen, Nightmare on Elm Street. Hasn't been one. What about Friday the 13th? There's been a couple of ones, but I think with Freddy versus Jason. But Michael Myers, every couple of years, is a new Michael Myers or Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, it's just continuous. So as much as I like Creature of the Black Lagoon and, the old school Universal monsters, to me, clear as day, Michael Myers.
Yep.
And
Halloween.
Mutual agrees.
Michael Myers, Halloween advances. Next up, here's an interesting one. The Thing, right? You'd think The Thing would be it, but don't you think McCready was probably more iconic in that movie? And then we've got Jigsaw. So we've got, the actual Jigsaw killer is not featured here, the doll, but the doll is probably more iconic in the series of films than anything. But these two characters, horror-wise.
If you would have had the Thing, bursting out of the dog or something, maybe that would be. But I've got to say that it's probably Jigsaw, that little creepy little doll.
Yeah, I think he beats Kurt Russell.
Chet.
Yeah, it's Jigsaw for me.
I mean, that doll riding on a little tricycle, pretty damn pretty trippy. Diggs, welcome in. All right, so we are moving on again, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing a Force Rank 32 elimination bracket to decide the horror icon, and we're almost through the first bracket on the left side. And here we go. It's Freddy Krueger. And everyone remembers The Exorcist, and oh boy, probably one of the creepiest films of all time. But we're talking character. Linda Blair, obviously, we're talking character, not movie. Who takes the cake? This could be a tough one.
And I tell you, man, again, bro, you're murdering us on these brackets. This first half of this bracket
Hey, it's
is
tough.
killing, because I think Linda Blair's Exorcist would have lasted a little longer if not he go against like one of the biggest icons ever. So, my vote's Freddy, obviously.
Yeah, The Exorcist scared way more people, but Freddy is more iconic.
Yeah. I mean, based on icons alone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Freddy moves on. Next up, we got Ghostface versus Art the Clown, who is now probably the most recent icon in horror, or gorer, if I should say. So the matchup here of old versus new.
Oh man, yeah, wow. It's just
I don't think Art's been around long enough because the Scream mask is iconic. You know exactly where it's from. Yeah. Sorry, Art.
Also, doesn't like Scream have like 7 or 8 movies now, or how many
And
films does it give?
It's like 7 so many movies, and then like offshoots and mockumentaries and all that stuff.
Yeah. Clint Eastwood, Terrifier is uninteresting. Crooked, the doll's name is Billy, attached to the Jigsaw killer, and then Meeks, Ghostface. I'm going with Ghostface here. I think Art the Clown, over time, they continue to make these films, which it seems like, the thing is making crazy money in the box office. It shattered the records for unrated. People love their gore. He may, if we do this in a couple of years, he may beat Ghostface. But for now, I got to go with Ghostface as well. All right, moving on. It is Pinhead from Hellraiser and Dracula. And I think, it's hard because there's so many renditions of Dracula. So I think we just have to say Dracula, right? As an iconic horror character and Pinhead.
Okay, so we're not saying Bela Lugosi's.
No, it's hard because there's like 5 different Dracula versions you could put on here, and it was just very difficult, right?
So if we're going that route,
it's just Dracula and not vampire. Dracula, the character.
Okay, yeah. Then I'm going with Dracula, and it seems like the chat's going that way too.
Yeah, Dracula, because Pinhead's been around, and they've had a ton of sequels, but it's still not that big as Dracula.
Yeah. Yeah, Pinhead's not fun at balloon animal parties. That's for sure. Okay. Let's move on to the second round on the left side of the bracket, and we have Jason Voorhees versus Hannibal Lecter. That's a tough one.
Jason,
Yeah.
quick.
I gotta think if somebody could kill the Hannibal Lecter and eat him at the same time, it'd probably be Jason Voorhees.
Okay. I'm gonna say Jason.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Jason for me.
Gotta go with Jason. Next up on the left side, it is Michael Myers versus Chucky.
Michael. That doll is not very scary when he's only at knee level.
So here's my deal.
Okay.
Like Chucky runs around and scares everybody, but like if he tried to run at Michael Myers would just stare at him and pull his head off and then walk away. Like he literally wouldn't do anything. He would just stand. So it'd be Michael Myers.
Yeah. William Shatner, Michael Myers, the same thing. Yeah. Michael Myers advances. Next up, Billy or the Jigsaw Killer and Freddy Krueger. It's Freddy.
It's got to be Freddy.
Freddy got fingered.
Killing Billy.
And then last but not least, we've got Ghostface versus Dracula.
Yeah, I'm going Dracula on this.
Man, this is going to be tough. Who's going to win the left side of the bracket? Oh, my goodness.
You got to be kidding me. I knew this was coming down to this.
This is so tough because you figure maybe if they were on the other part of the bracket, it would be different.
Wow.
This might be the toughest, and the next one's just as tough. Woo-wee. Who is going to get eliminated? Here's my argument, and that is I go back to what I said about 5 minutes ago, which is both of these are very relevant today as they were in the 90s and the 80s. I think both equally iconic. I think, Jason's right, but the music is more iconic. Michael Myers. I see more Michael Myers like costumes during the Halloween, and because the films have been more recent, like Rob Zombie's take on it, and then the other new Halloween, I have to go with Michael Myers just a little bit more than Jason Voorhees.
But Jason Voorhees did get his own video game.
He did?
True.
And it's a great Nintendo game. Scary shit.
It is a good.
And they do another one, right? Don't they? They have another one too.
I'm specifically talking about the new one that came out where one person is Jason and then four other people are the camp.
It's amazing.
Camp people. Yeah. I forget what that's called.
With Michael Myers.
But he didn't get this iconic look until the third movie. So, I think it's Michael just for everything. And he's had better movies as well.
Well, yeah, there's a difference. And I don't think Michael Myers has been to space yet. So I think that counts him out of that one.
Yeah.
Sold me right there.
No, I'll say with just creep wise, Michael Myers is like damn near every time. I think it's only because the doctor that's in the movie makes him terrifying more. And so like this guy's a psychotic, he's human, he's been locked up in a mental insane institution and everything. That's where it kind of like, Jason's kind of like if you just happen to go to Camp Crystal Lake, you might run into him, but maybe in Manhattan too, but not too many other places. But Michael Myers seems like he'll track you across country. So I'm gonna go with Michael Myers. He's a scarier figure than me. I know it's going against our buddy Darth Moochie here.
I think also like Michael Myers has had less corniness in the movies. Like Jason has had some pretty interesting corny kill scenes and stuff. Can we go to? Does anybody want to watch Jason Goes to New York, and see some of those kills? It's become a little goofy. So I think, sure, there's probably been moments for Michael Myers, but I think it's been more serious in tone than it was in the Friday the 13th movie. So again, sticking with Michael. So Mr. Storm, Michael or Jason?
No, it's Michael Myers.
Michael,
and,
Dr. Brantley?
Michael.
Mr. Chet Maddox.
Yep, Michael.
I know we have a couple of disagreements in the chat, but
Well,
the ruling
Clint
has been.
Eastwood thought that we were seeing a Made in Manhattan, although that movie is scary on its own too. But
That's a
no, we're
scary
talking about
freaking.
Jason Goes to Manhattan.
Mm.
And then like I said, Crooked Smiles with Jason X is amazing. Oh, come on, man.
Knock it off.
Come on.
Freddy versus Dracula.
Oh, okay. Now,
Ooh.
Icon, right? Icon. Oh, snap. If it's Icon, I'm thinking Dracula beats him icon-wise. You know?
But not recently. That's the thing. Freddy has been much more prevalent in the last 40 years now, or whatever it is. And Dracula, there's been a ton of them, but it doesn't have that same place today in the culture, I think, that Freddy does.
I don't know, man. That's where I argue with you on this one. Very few times that we will ever argue, but I think that when Dracula is, you can go to any country in the world, and that mythos has been brought in.
So
And I
he's
think,
so Dracula's like a world famous hamburger.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like a 1 billion being served.
Okay.
I think the thing though is like sometimes we're talking about Dracula and not vampires, right?
Mhm.
Because there's
Yeah.
so many renditions of vampires and people dress up like vampires and vampire memorabilia. So Dracula obviously is iconic, but I think if I look at pop culture, although it could be an argument Freddy hasn't been as relevant over the past maybe 10, 15 years because there
Mhm.
hasn't been films. Robert Englund hasn't, returned in any capacity. So it's maybe our generation that remembers Freddy more than the youth. But I'm going to lean towards Freddy because he's my favorite of all time. So I have a little bit of bias, but I'm going with Mr. Craven and Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger.
Freddy
So
has scared me a lot more than any Dracula ever has. That
Yeah.
first one. The rest, not so much, but
I don't know. See, that's again, I'm going to disagree with Dr. Brantley. This is 2 times in one night. Write that down on the record. I thought the Voyage of the Demeanor, actually, that version was pretty damn scary too. So I just think that he has been out there a little bit more, and I think that maybe the presentation of Dracula into the new age, it's kind of been tough, but it's every Halloween I think of that character predominantly, and I always do watch Bela Lugosi's every year. So
up to Chet.
Man, I don't know. This one's tough. I think yeah, it's probably got to be Dracula for me. It's hard because like Freddy, while he hasn't had like a lot of movies like Michael Myers and Jason, like his first movie is pretty impactful, and like Meek said, like it kept him up at night and not wanting to go to sleep. It did for me as well. But the simple fact that Dracula has been around for ages is why I'm giving it to Dracula, because you could dress up like Dracula and even like a tiny child knows who you're talking about. You dress up like Freddy and they're like, "Who are you, Edward Scissorhands?"
okay.
So
Well, it is 2-2, which means the tiebreaker goes to the live chat. Get your votes in. Is it Freddy or is it Dracula? Who advances since we are stuck as a group? Place your votes now. Dracula.
a one
or
for
Freddy.
Dracula, a 2 for Freddy.
mm-hmm.
Dracula. We got
versus
one.
Dracula.
Darth has got Dracula. Crooked
Smile.
Smile. Dracula. Dracula, it looks like it is going to be Dracula. Any last votes here? We need one,
Vlad.
Freddy.
Just got to make it complicated.
Bro.
All right.
There's
Well,
number one. There you go.
Dracula advances, but guess what, folks?
This
Guess
sucks.
what?
Not for long.
Dracula has to face Michael Myers.
Nah, this is Michael Myers for me. I'm just gonna end it. That's it.
I don't know, man. The icon wise,
it's Michael Myers, my friend.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just thinking like in a clean fight. I don't know. I think Michael's. Well, I don't know. He's been
and you know why? Because Dracula is not the most famous of the Universal monsters.
True. Yeah, I'm gonna go with just iconic wise. Damn it, I gotta say, yeah, it's Michael Myers.
The
I just
chat
think when
is
you see him in
leaning
that
towards
jumpsuit,
Michael.
yeah, chat's saying it too.
Mike.
Yeah,
Mr. Myers has won the left side of the bracket. For those of you in the chat, we appreciate you participating and joining us live every Friday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time. If you're watching us now or you're watching us later, not live, please like, subscribe, comment on the channel. Michael Myers advances. We are going to the right side of the bracket. And oh boy, talk about a legendary Universal monster. It is the Frankenstein's monster versus Annabelle, another creepy doll that's more current in horror. This one is clear cut for me. It is Frankenstein.
I was telling Storm on the I don't know if it was on the podcast or what, but we were talking, and I was telling him that BJ, for those of you who don't know, I worked with him on a card game, but BJ actually has a life-size replica of not only Annabelle but also the cabinet that they keep her in his garage, and it freaked me the fuck out when I went over to his house to visit him before I took off.
Did it have the sign "Do not open"?
It absolutely did. I will get the picture from him and I'll send it to everyone on this. It was creepy as heck, and he said he felt weird having that in his house anyways, but he had to have it.
Yeah, it is.
All that to say, it's Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's Frankenstein. It's not even the right Annabelle doll. It should be a Raggedy Andy or Raggedy Ann.
And that's the one he has.
Oh.
Yeah.
Next up, we have from the Ring franchise, Samara Morgan, the creepy girl, and then we have John Landis's American Werewolf in London, but werewolf in general, but this one in particular that made werewolves really hot back in the 80s. Which one of the two?
The freaking American Werewolf is like that transformation scene. He doesn't even look like he looks like an oversized killer wolf compared to like any kind of thing I've ever seen. I think only the Howling movie probably had a better transition than that. And but yeah, it's always that wolf from American Werewolf. Like, wow, that's a scary beast, man.
I think American Werewolf is a better movie, but as a horror icon, I think that Scary Ring Girl wins, because that did freak me out when I saw it the first time. American Werewolf never got me scared. It was great. It's a good movie, but The Ring actually scared me with that little girl.
Agreeing with you in the chat.
Did you ever see the Japanese version of The Ring, Ringu?
Yeah, I did.
That was creepy too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
This one for me is The Ring. Like, that's just I saw something, I don't know if it was on TikTok or what, but there was a girl that made this Halloween costume.
Yeah.
And it was really good because it was like just a TV on rollers until it stopped, and then the girl crawled, and then the girl crawled out of the TV.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's really good.
No, when that happens in the movie, that really got me. I don't know what it was, but just the way they filmed it and everything, I was just like, go, stop.
We gotta keep this up for a little bit. Darth Moocher is trying to bribe us.
We do accept bribes.
To make sure that Frank,
we're not unbribable.
Yeah, this is gonna hold a lot of weight in the final decision. We just want everyone to know. So if you have a character you like, I don't know.
Thank you, Darth Moocher, for your hard
on $4.99.
We appreciate it.
Samara
Morgan advances.
30 cents.
Oh, it could be. Hey, $4.99 in this economy. That's a Snickers
it's
bar. We appreciate it. Next up, two iconic females, and talk about Halloween. Michael Myers has advanced, but what would Halloween franchise be without Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and then also, well, the Queen of Darkness herself, Elvira.
Oh, damn.
Mistress of the Dark. Come on,
Oh,
Elvira.
It's
wow,
Elvira.
man. Yeah, it's Elvira.
Sorry, Jamie Lee.
Wow,
you
this
can't
sucks,
compete.
Yeah, it's Elvira.
Oh man, when I was a young one, Elvira, yes.
When I was a
I
young one
watched.
and an old one, it still has always been Elvira.
Movie
it's
Macabre,
at the
one of
point
my
where
favorite shows.
She introduced generations of horror movie fans. I've got to say that
She definitely had two ways to do that.
it was late night, brother. You know,
Yeah, it was late night watching Monster Jam Ball.
Yeah. On Channel 9 here, KCAL, Channel 9, Los Angeles.
Well, Elvira advances next up. Well, we got the Leatherface himself from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then for those of you who don't remember, Dawn of the Dead, and I think the actor's name was Ken Cree, I think, who was iconic in the Zombies franchise in one of the earlier zombie films. But who wins here?
Leatherface.
Oh, Leatherface.
It's not even a contest.
Yeah, no. No,
Okay.
all you got to do is hear that chainsaw fire up and shit. They're like, I could be like somebody could be actually mowing the lawn. It sounds like a chainsaw. That is like really one of the freakiest things. A guy running around with that.
Yeah, first one. Oof. So raw, so good. Next up, Pennywise, and we're gonna combine both Pennywise, the recent Pennywise, and then the old school Pennywise, but we just put Tim Curry's Pennywise in this versus the iconic monster himself, the shark from Jaws.
I don't think Jaws even matches it for me, man.
Yeah, but I think icon wise it's hard. But if it's horror films, it's Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Well, I think the newer Pennywise was so much scarier than Tim Curry. There was some stuff in the new It that got me.
Skarsgård was real good in that film.
Well,
both times.
I'll give credit to one thing they do that. Remember under the in the sewer scene, they did it in the original and they did it in the actual remake of the movie. And both scenes, that cloud is creepy as fuck underneath that. So that's when you can tell it's like when they can do the remake just as scary and one doesn't even look as sinister compared to the other ones. That's when you've done it right. So yeah, I'll give that. And while I love Jaws hasn't came off the water yet. Now he did go down to Jamaica, if I believe so. But he can't get around too much and too scary. Although I have seen it good Jaws cosplay at the convention every now and then.
Hey, Darth Moocher, are you talking about Jaws 3D from Back to the Future 2?
Yeah. Hey, actually, you know what? You had to go to 7-Eleven to get those damn glasses, brother.
I know.
I distinctly remember Jaws 3D, and it also, here's the thing: don't you ever talk about a movie that Louis Gossett Jr. was in? Don't you ever? Don't you ever? My man has acted in more low class movies than any person in America. This man was, this man was in Punisher. For God's sake.
I forgot about this last line that Clint Eastwood said: "Kiss me, fat boy."
Yep. Wow.
Pennywise advances, and next up, well, how fitting. It is Ripley versus Xenomorph, the alien. And a lot of people controversy. We've talked about it in previous episodes. It's Alien, a horror franchise, or a sci-fi. And I think without a question or a shadow of a doubt, that first one was way more horror than it was sci-fi.
Yeah, I would agree. But I think that Ripley wins though because she's more iconic than the Xenomorph, even for the Alien franchise.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. I'm gonna go the Xenomorph. Just every time you see it on screen, and there's been so many different versions of it now that keep popping up.
Did you see that? Did you see that one that they made where it was E.T. as a Xenomorph instead of Ripley, or instead of the regular one? Did you see that?
I did. If you go over to the video on the Shadows Network, you can watch that too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The chat's disagreeing.
Chat's blowing up. Chat's blowing up Ripley right now.
Yeah. Wow. If I think iconic, like who's dressing up like Ripley, but I see a hell of a lot of freaking xenomorphs running around. Some of the horrible ass costumes. And
I see a lot of Ripley and Power Loaders.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I have seen that. I've seen it hand in hand. I've seen Ripley and the xenomorph together. So it's always,
I think Ripley is one of the, I think probably for me, the best female heroine in movies.
True.
But I still think the xenomorph is more iconic. The look, it's, yeah.
Well,
it's got to be the alien.
If we're going by the chat, we're going to lose.
This one's a tough one, but
yeah.
I got Xenomorph. Mr. Storm's got Xenomorph. Dr. Brantley's got Xenomorph. So, chat, Xeno, Ripley, where are you headed?
I said mine, but I got played out. So
yeah.
Okay, all right.
3-1. 3-1.
3-1, and then we've got you've got Annie Wilkes from Misery, and then you've got Bruce Campbell himself, one of the icons.
Oh no.
Your thoughts here, gentlemen?
I'm just gonna not listen if someone tries to convince me that it's not Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not listening. So you can have the conversations.
This is my boomstick.
Yeah, I don't care.
Right? Like he's got 3 movies. Well, did he do a 4th one? I think no. He's only done 3.
No, he did a TV show.
This is
and the TV show.
After our show on Wednesday. Ash is the first Hot Toys that I'm going to buy.
Yeah, hell yeah. Ash, chat agrees.
Chat seems to be going the same way. All hail the king.
Give me some sugar, baby.
Well, it's also that S-Mart. That is I've seen Army of Darkness at least about 200 times. And I always loved it. I swear to God, I used to, I worked at a comic book store when I was younger. And we would go every Friday night, no matter what, to go see, the Army of Darkness. And I remember the S-Mart scene it's always my favorite because it looked like a shitty Kmart did it.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
It's because it was filmed in Kmart.
Yeah, it really did look like it was, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Here we go. We got Carrie, obviously the epic blood scene at prom, and then Anthony Perkins and Psycho, which created a just problems for people in the shower for years to come, and probably one of the creepiest looks on camera. Yeah. Right up there with a Jack Nicholson, where you're like, look at this, there's something wrong with this guy.
I gotta give this a Psycho because the first time I watched that, it screwed me up for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like creepy.
Norman, yeah.
He's creepy. Yeah.
And his mother's a real bitch.
Yeah. I mean, it's really her fault.
No, man.
I'm going with Norman. Norman?
I've got to definitely go with Norman. The chat, though, it's a Clint Beast way to say it. Carrie's clearly more recognized more broadly.
I think that scene is for sure. The blood soak, 100%. But we've got Frankenstein versus it's not even close for me.
Yeah, it's Frankenstein for me.
Yep, Frankie.
Frankenstein.
Leatherface and Elvira.
You're not going to get better than Elvira for me. Yeah. So
there it is.
I'm going with Leatherface.
I'm going with Elvira because she was the icon for that genre for such a long time. The face of that, all the bad horror films in the 80s and early 90s, she was it. And so Leatherface, clearly an incredible icon with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I think, again, maybe not as recent.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these probably not as recent, but I got to lean towards Elvira.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on Leatherface. We got to go. Okay. We got to go to the chat.
We got to go to the chat. Okay.
Chat,
all right, chat.
Clint Beastwood with leather. Well, actually, Meeks with Leatherface. Crooked Smiles with Leatherface.
Get in there, chat.
Then, we've got let's see, Darth Moocher damn it, this pains me to pass over Elvira for Leatherface, but okay.
Looks like
And
let's Leatherface.
Clint wants us to know that, yep, she did start it. Yep, true.
Well, sad to see you go,
And-
Elvira, but the chat has weighed in. It is Leatherface that advances. Next up, Pennywise and Xenomorph.
This one you'd have to go impact on culture.
Yeah.
Xeno.
I had to see it. Oh, damn. You know what? This is a tough one because both of them, because the damn clown always does it to anybody that I know too.
Yeah.
Wow. Horror wise, I gotta say Pennywise. I know that, it's more like sometimes when I see aliens, it reminds me more of action sometimes instead of complete horror other than the first movie. So that's where I'm like, but like you can't mistake that damn clown scary in every damn scene he's in.
In a theater, though, Aliens, before it gets to the part where all hell breaks loose, is one of the most tense movies ever.
Yes.
Yep, I agree.
Just, it's just like you're waiting, and every time they're going through that complex is.
Well, remember, it's also one of the scariest games you could play by yourself, which was Alien Isolation.
I'm going to go with Xeno because Xeno's longevity, right? Because yes, there's been 2 recent movies about Pennywise, but if we're thinking iconic, the past 40 plus years, it's Xenomorph for me.
And yeah, you know what? Shit. He does have a point though, man. Shit. I am gonna have to change that. I'm gonna have to go to Xenomorph. Shit.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Norman Bates versus Ash.
I'm not budging on Ash.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with Ash too.
Ash.
Yep. Everybody, the chat's agreeing too. I got to go with and he is probably one of the most modern day versions of a character that works out well for everyone.
Yeah.
You're down to the final 4 on the right side of the bracket. We have Frankenstein versus Leatherface.
Frankenstein's winning it for me.
Young Frankenstein for me.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, Frank for me.
This guy.
Xenomorph versus Ash.
I'm still Ash. Like I'm not
I can't do that over the Xenomorph. I gotta go to Xenomorph.
Sure you can. Just say Ash. That's how you do it. You just say Ash.
Oof.
Oh shit, man! Because I hate this is this
iconic wise though in horror. Ash, like Bruce Campbell made what was supposed to be like a B- or C+ movie into like a pop culture icon.
True.
I mean, it's if you yes, this is one of those ones though. I'll give it this: that if you were to just put them out with no signs, almost anybody that walked by would know exactly who both of these were.
Yes,
but Ash was actually in a horror film, and it was bloody, and it was just like over. I don't know. I think Ash.
Okay,
I think more people know who the Xenomorph is. They would recognize that more than people would know Ash. I mean, it was big, but the Evil Dead movies and Army of Darkness is not a huge thing, as compared to the Alien movies.
Yeah, Ash is more cult following for sure. Those movies, you have to be, unless you watch them back when they first released, it's really a cult genre within horror. And Xenomorph, I mean, they just made another Alien movie, so people know those. But if I'm thinking, and I agree with Clint's, I think Clint's the one that's species versus character. Is that it is a species. It's not just one xenomorph. It's multi-xenomorphs. And Bruce Campbell, Ash, is one character. So I love Ash, and I'm going with Ash. So
Yeah, you
where
know
are
what?
we now? Are we who? So Dr. Brantley, are you Xeno more for Ash?
Alien.
Alien,
Actually,
Mr.
Clint
Storm.
actually made me change my point. Species versus character. He did have a point about it. I'm gonna say Ash.
Okay, and we know Chet's answer is Ash. So Ash moves on, and oh boy, it's Ash versus Frankenstein. Actually, give me this movie. Someone make this
Yeah,
movie
actually,
for
that
us.
would.
Frankenstein would lose.
Yeah, I think he would. I think he would.
Because, well, first of all, although he really won't die, because Ash would just cut him up in pieces and they can sew him back together again.
Yeah,
I
this.
think Frankenstein.
Mm.
Yeah, I've got to say, while I love Ash, Frankenstein is the one for me, man. Oh, and
Yeah,
then
It's
Clint
tough.
doesn't even want to even comment on this one because this was a
It's
tough
tough.
one. It's
It's
you
tough,
know,
but it's Frank. You know.
I'm dying on my hill of Ash, so
good,
Yeah.
good.
I'll be voted out. It's fine. I'll go put out the torch.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we are down to the final two.
Be
And
quiet,
that
Darth.
is Frankenstein versus Michael Myers.
Mm.
Mm.
Oh man. This
When they
one
do-
is tough.
I need a minute on this.
When they
Yeah,
do something that's like
this one
horror,
sucks, but
right? They usually show that face of Boris Karloff.
yep.
You know, that's like an iconic horror image. You know, it's, the head, got the bolts and everything. I think Frankenstein can beat.
When you say icon, there is nothing more iconic than Boris Karloff as that character. And even Clint Bruce is scarier than Captain Kirk. There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna say Frankenstein, man. It looks like, I'll be honest with you, the chat's going the same way too, man. Wow. Like you said, I did not think that Frankenstein would end up in this situation. I kind of did think it would be Dracula, to be honest with you, but true.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now narrowed down to the top. It was a tough battle.
It
We saw
was.
Freddy taken down and Xenomorphs and Ash, and Dracula died early and Pennywise, but the champion
Wow.
is none other than Frankenstein, the ultimate horror icon.
Wow.
Wow, that was very, very tough, but we did it. We appreciate all the feedback in the chat. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. For those of you not watching live, maybe your opinions are different. Drop us a comment in the YouTube channel on the Shadow Nose Network every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And now, Mr. Storm, as we
Yes,
do
sir.
all the time, we get into the news segment of SKN Shadow Nose Network.
Absolutely. But you know what? We're also going to make sure, if you can't catch it live, make sure you catch the replay. Let's get that replay squad up. Let's get those views up after that. So if you tell anybody that likes the show that would enjoy it, make sure you get them to watch that, actually. So yeah, we've got some great stuff in this week's hard news line that we come through. We still don't have that little the 1080 version of it, but we're gonna hit this up and everything. Speaking of Xenomorphs, although he may have lost and everything, he did win at the box office early this year, and because he did, they're saying that Alien Romulus sequel is coming. Legendary director and producer Ridley Scott is reportedly developing a new Alien movie after the success of this year's Alien Romulus. The Hollywood Reporter revealed that Scott and his Scott-free production companies are developing a new movie, the franchise for the 20th Century Studios, which is Disney. Let's be honest. So, any thoughts on that? You guys want to see a sequel so quick, or
Not if Ridley Scott is behind it.
Yeah, and I just want to see the
last
first one.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will. Well, that's a tough one because although Ridley Scott did produce his last one, and now that the film is doing well, he is taking a hell of a lot of credit. But we'll see. I think this might be. I think sometimes it's better to let it marinate a little while and save a little time. But hey, it's when the money's rolling, the money's rolling.
Mm-hmm.
From there, guess what? You can own the Batmobile. That's right. Like I said, if you want to own the
Stupid.
classic Tumbler from the Dark Knight Christopher Nolan films, you can. Now, this is just limited to 10 tumblers, though. So you got to understand, there's going to be a waiting list and everything. But it's the latest drop from the Wayne Enterprises Experience, a luxury brand inspired by the Cape Crusader himself, run by the Warner Brothers, the rest of the guy groups since 2022. It runs with a steel tube frame, which allows a 6.2 liter LS3 V8 engine, providing up to 525 horsepower.
Here's the thing about this. Okay?
I'm here for an oil change.
If I park it, will you bring it? I have this bet with a friend of mine where if we win the lottery, we're buying each other Dodge Vipers. Well, that shit just changed to we're gonna buy each other the fucking Batmobiles. And the best part about that bet is that we have to deliver them in any condition, and the person has to accept it. So if I win the lottery, he's getting one of these things, hot fucking pink.
Well, I was just thinking about it. It's like I could see Chet moving into his new his new condo, and there's a guy with a Cybertruck, so to one up him, he parks the fucking Batmobile next to the Cybertruck.
That's exactly what is going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, the beautiful part about that is you can have yours too if you've only got to. Well, let's just look the price. This is just asinine, stupid. Everyone knows that the markup when you say just say $3 million. It's like just say
$3 million won't sell though. $299 will.
Yeah, $299.
But you know
it's
what?
always the price.
Hey,
But I'm on
but it does have Bluetooth.
Buying something. What was that?
It does have Bluetooth. No CarPlay. But I just want everyone to know, if you're watching now, I'll be signing autographs so you can sell those to at least gain some money for your.
Now, there's a couple of disappointment situations. I know this is going to be tough for people to swallow this down. This car is not street legal, apparently. So if you drive it, it will be under. But if you got like 2.9 million, I'm pretty damn sure you can pay for whatever tickets that any other officer. And I'll guarantee you, I will put up my own personal funds if anyone drives by a cop on the highway with that, because just like in the movie, I'm sure the officer's going to be like, yeah, no, let that one go.
Okay, but here's the real question. Does it turn into the bike?
No. That would probably be $6 million, brother. So no.
And they have to catch you. Does it have the dark mode? Can they jump on rooftops and stuff?
Clint Eastwood does have a very good point here. Is they do Ubers in it. Now, you know what? I saw this happen where Uber, when they were promoting a couple of the Batman films, they actually took the 89 Batmobile out. And
I was just going to say that they did that in San Diego Comic-Con. They did that too. Like
I saw that.
They always had like a comic night, and there was like the Batmobile from the TV show. There was the Batmobile from the movies. This would be another one. But I don't think if you're going to spend $2.9 million on a car, you're going to want to Uber it.
Yeah.
But if I did have the money, I would do DoorDash for the night and dress up like Batman and drop like McDonald's off in somebody's house in this. Just to entertain the kids.
But I thought that was a little humor of the week. Let's rolling into here's the thing. No layoffs needed to make a profit. Just want to give that to our story that goes through that we did on Toybox Chronicles of the 150 people over at Hasbro that lost a job. Apparently, Jack Pacific is, I don't know, they haven't been doing this long as Hasbro, but for some strange reason, they are making an economic uprise. It says Jack Pacific battled a challenging retail environment to buck the trend with a 4% net sales increase to $321.6 million in the third quarter. Let's see, not just net sales of the toy/consumer products hit 264.3 million, and a 7 year over increase compared to last year's quarter. So it seems like everyone else can make money and don't have to do layoffs. other than Hasbro. For some strange reason, the $1 billion company can't figure out how to keep firing people in the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter. But yet, here's a company like Jack Pacific who is doing a bang up job with well, Darth Moody just said the micro galaxies, but I was also thinking the Simpsons as well. You
The
know, I
relaunch
think
of
they're doing a
Simpsons.
great job on that. So, you know, bravo. Like, you know, again, we kill people for and corporations for making money. Now, we've all been to Jack Pacific, other than I think Chet, but I remember myself, Rad, Dr. Brantley, and Shadow all toured them when they were in Malibu. So they seem like a very good company. Has some setbacks with the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's nice to see that they're back. And again, those Simpson figures are probably number one, good figures, but number two is also very discountable figures. Because I think you can pick them up for what, $10.99 or something?
Yeah, they're around there. They're $12.99. But here's the thing that pisses me off the most.
Yeah.
They're gonna buy all 10 of the Batmobiles. They have enough money for that. They can buy like 107 of them.
True.
Jerks.
And also, Quickest Mounts also said they also do a Sonic. Yeah, they do.
Well,
So,
and they're not flooding the market either, like Hasbro is, with a
No.
ton of stuff that people
No.
don't want to buy.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see again a trend bucking up that during Christmas time there's a lot of people in the toy industry, especially people over at Hasbro that lost their positions. It's nice to see that someone isn't, and you know, we're going to shine that here every time we get a chance. From there we've got here's the thing, you can get Tully, Chris can get Tully, Dr. Brentley can get Tully, Chet Maddox and everybody in the chat for some strange damn reason now could get Tully. Because you know why? Because that HasLab was not going to make 12,000 backers in a 14-day window. So they saw that waking up this morning. I think it was at 8,500 people at that point had actually went, and they said they needed that by Saturday. That was not going to happen. So all of a sudden now, you know, Hasbro wants to appeal to everyone, saying, you know what, everybody's going to get a Tully now that we thought about it. No, I think they saw all the shitty press they were getting for letting people go before Christmas, and they wanted a tad bit of you know, goodwill and everything at the time. So if you back it and they reach the 12,000 mark, everyone is not going to be an early bird special anymore. So now the 14 days don't count. If it's fully funded by December 2nd, you know, then it'll be fine. And then Chet and I was talking about this a little earlier in the day. I think it's highly irresponsible for at this point in the year for them to be doing HasLabs. I think they should be reserving HasLabs maybe no later than October, because December 2nd, you know, that's, you know, come on. You know, it's like, you know that this item is not selling to children. This item's selling to adults. And if you're an adult, chances are you probably have a kid. So that's, you know, I think that they need to get by October, stop doing the HasLabs and then resume them, like, you know, sometime in, you know, maybe end of January or something. So I think Hasbro has this backwards, but, you know, they didn't see the numbers we were getting, so they pivoted on this. So their loss is everyone's gain, but also they don't lose because we're all going to pay like $400 and some odd dollars for this thing. So they're not losing. So we'll flip that through everything. If you, the film of the year, he was not a box office graveyard, but he was a box office reprieve for us. Godzilla -1 is getting a sequel. Now, if you've been in the theaters, then you've seen a Godzilla -1 from last year. It's back in the theater for a small limited theater run. And it seems like, no, at the moment, the director is not attached to this one so far, but I've got to think if you're going to do a sequel, you're going to bring him back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But this was one of the better films of last year. I am so glad that Toho, which, you know, look, let's be honest, there's a time where, you know, Toho was, you know, wasn't doing a lot of quality, but Godzilla was still good. But, you know, it's really amazing to see that they did a Godzilla movie for less budget that actually is on par with whatever Legendary is doing. And I thought that was probably one of the films of the year. Godzilla -1, if you haven't seen that, you definitely need to see it.
Yeah,
and
it's not on par. It's way better than what they're doing with Legendary at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah.
Which is how you should make movies.
Yeah.
If you want to hear a real opinion on it, go back and watch the box office graveyards.
And we are just a couple of weeks away from getting to the box office graveyard of 2024.
Wild.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the pop culture news of the week here. And, join us next week and we'll have the same thing happening.
Awesome, Mr. Storm. We appreciate it as always. And again, thanks to everyone for hanging out with us live here on the Shadow Nose Network and Pixels Plastic and Ink. We wouldn't be here without some of our great sponsors and affiliates. And first off, again, lots of toys and collectibles headed for the shelves and pre-orders and all the stuff that's in stock for the holiday season and beyond. And if you were thinking about doing those things, what better way than to get a discount using the Pixels and Plastic Ink code on Entertainment Earth. And with toys comes our first and ever sponsor, and for local pickups, all the old school grails. Well, Toys versus Games is the place to be.
Toys versus
Games. I'm here with the man, the owner.
Tony at Toys vs. Games.
versus
Games.
oh.
And for those of you who are into toys and all things collectibles, as we are, well, we probably collect comic books and all types of amazing things that you want to protect or sell or ship. And well, excited about our latest official partner program with Gemini Comic Supply. A bunch of new cool stuff is hitting the airwaves and channel. If you haven't seen the latest video that posted on Halloween, well, what happens if you mesh Alien with E.T. and the xenomorph that we considered one of the icons is now E.T.? Well, if you haven't checked out a hilarious mashup, check the Shadow Nose Network right here on this channel for Alien E.T. Oh boy, it's scary, it's spooky, it's creepy, and kind of makes E.T. more scarier than the xenomorph. So please check it out. But other amazing content, the Toybox Chronicles every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time here on Shadow Nose Network. Mr. Chet Maddox, Mr. Alexander Storm, plus always types of cool guests and content, including we've got Crooked Smile Collectibles that's always on and helping us out here on the network, and a variety of other different guests. We also have well, a really cool, the Game of Thrones, the Lord of the Rings, the fandom that is medieval. Well, what better way to talk through and listen to that genre than getting medieval with Dr. Brantley, Mr. Storm, and Darth Moocher. I love the Lord of the Rings recaps. The show has ended. What is in store? What's in store for the latest episode? What are we talking about? I know we did the Dungeons and Dragons kind of the franchise, but what's the next episode? What do we have planned for that series?
Well, also, we just did Hello this week, and the next week coming up, or actually this coming week, this coming week. It will be Dr. Brentley picked the movie this time.
Lady Hawk.
Oh, I remember that. Rutger Hauer, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Michelle Pfeiffer and Matthew Broderick.
Ooh,
Michelle Pfeiffer.
great movie. Great movie. Well, for those of you who are listening, click into that, even if you're not a fan of that genre. Lots of other amazing content. Also, wrestling fans, the Shadow is back. He has returned. He's given his insights and recaps into the world of wrestling. And Mr. Storm, we have a new Shadow that's dropping, right? Pretty soon this weekend. So I'm excited about that. Lots of great content. I think there's a lot of things on Wednesday and Friday happening. That's funny. Lady Hawk 2 days ago, great film. But Wednesdays and Fridays are the place to be on the network, and so we should just give you a rundown of what you should be watching here on Shadow Knows Network and our partner networks. Love and support the Sarlacc Digest and the Fallen Fett and all the other folks that come in. Mr. Storm hopping on their shows and channels and vice versa. Man, it's a brotherhood of great content, pop culture, Star Wars, and all other good things. So, gentlemen, any last thoughts before we adjourn? Man, I can't believe Frank won, but he takes the trophy.
No. I will be continuing to update the background, but I am unpacking from moving. So
yeah, I will just say that no matter what, if you watch the rest, thank you for watching the best. We do this every week, so I definitely enjoy with my partners in crime and everything. It's always fun on a Friday night, man.
Yeah, happy
Amazing.
Day of the Dead.
We will see you next week, and see you later.